Police say the man they're looking for is a white supremacist gang member, was not wearing a helmet, and may have been drinking when he crashed into a concrete wall. Even though it looks official and it looks regulated with the Utah Department of Health logo right there at the bottom, it's based almost entirely on the honor system. From 1991 to 2001, 10 victims ranging from the ages of 11 years old to a woman in her 50s. Police say this man would often blindfold his victims. The city of Cottonwood Heights is not sure if their sewer system is up to code. There's nothing normal about a pipe like this, unable to handle all the water from this week's storms. Are you leaving because you're paying your people in cash, or what's going on? All the people on these construction sites, they say they work for you. No. You know paying people in cash is illegal, right?
Yeah, I know.
Within 2 weeks of Tammy's death, Chad married Lori Vallow, who, as you remember, has been a widow now for about 3 months. On November 26th, family members started to get concerned. They hadn't heard from the kids. Nausea, some people throwing up, some people even reporting going in and out of consciousness. This company has a storied history, especially with being slow to report incidents like this. They said today even they got 911 calls from victims, not from the company.
The man who lives here used to keep a lot of expensive toys in the basement. He's just glad his grandkids weren't home when it all came to an end.
I mean, they would have been killed because of the force of that water. It was extreme.
A few miles away, another homeowner felt the same way.
Hold on, I'm just gonna get video for them so they have it for insurance.
The city's insurance company did get that video and others, but it hasn't helped either of the victims.
Our claim was officially denied by telephone on Saturday, September 7th.
He says the agent offered him a $7,000 settlement to release the city of all liability. That's less than 10% of what he lost, valued at about $91,000.
The city doesn't even know if their system meets code.
When Fox 13 asked for public records about the city's storm drain system showing its specifications and capabilities, the city said those records were never handed over by Salt Lake County when Cottonwood Heights became its own city. A spokesperson for the city told Fox 13 they didn't know if the storm drains were up to code.
So when Cottonwood Heights incorporated in 2005, we would have made available all information we had on the storm drain system. This issue really is just not a Salt Lake County issue.
The records we don't have at this point, and I don't know. He said that they handed them over. I'm not sure where they're at because we don't have those.
I was baffled when I heard the city did not have any records or documentation.
They couldn't find the documents, but we were able to find something else on our own. A study commissioned by the city in 2006, which states this pipe on Tyndale Court should be replaced. Because the invert of the pipe has deteriorated, there is a high potential that water could undermine the soil column and create widespread property damage. The city's prediction was accurate. Tyndale Court is where John McIntyre lives.
The pipe is totally smashed, totally corroded.
In Washington, D.C., we're currently serving an 18-month mission.
Since we uncovered this document, Cottonwood Heights has declined all interviews. In an email, City Manager Tim Tingey wrote, "There were repairs made in 2015. Portions of the pipe were deteriorating, but they felt this segment was adequate in normal rainstorms." We asked for his source, whatever study he was getting his information from. He did not provide one, saying, again, there's no documentation. As for the 2006 report, the city manager says, of course the pipe was deteriorated. It began deteriorating the instant it was placed and buried. The city now says the pipe should be fit to handle a 10-year storm. In other words, a storm that only has a 1 in 10 chance of happening every year.
Our area was definitely more than a 10-year storm.
Well, there's a big discrepancy.
Fox 13 received rainfall data from the National Weather Service showing there was only 0.28 of an inch during a 3-hour period of the storm's peak. That wouldn't even meet the requirements for a 1-year storm.
Our data is different than what you have. It was probably potentially closer to a 100-year storm.
The city points to a website called Weather Underground, which allows homeowners to collect their own data. It shows up to an inch of rainfall, a downpour, in just a 10-minute window.
I know the National Weather Service is a certified agency. I don't know that Weather Underground is a certified agency or not. And so I personally think an insurance company should go by what the National Weather Service says.
What the city's doing is they're just trying to avoid doing what's right. That is just plain dishonest. Do we really want those people representing us?
Investigations into MacKenzie's phone show.
Brian Wolf could only sit and watch as police announced the end of the search for MacKenzie Lueck.
Holy crap.
All week on the news, he kept seeing pictures of a house that he was just inside a couple months ago. Now he sees the mugshot of the man he met there.
100% that man that they arrested is the man I met. Guaranteed. I'm shaking right now. My heart's pounding. I'm almost about to cry. It's scary. I feel sorry for that girl.
He says murder suspect Ayoola Ajayi
We just said to put his name down as AJ.
wanted him to build a secret soundproof room in the basement right here with a thumbprint lock and hooks hanging from the walls.
Just said that his girlfriend was coming into town and needed to get it done before she got there because she was a Mormon girl. She didn't know he drank, so he wanted to hide her alcohol from her. And I was like, well, why do you need it to be soundproof? I told a lot of people that I thought something weird was going on over there, and it turns out there obviously was.
He says he still isn't sure what AJ actually wanted the room for.
Well, I could totally do it, but I never would have done it. There's no way.
But whatever it was, he refused to be a part of it.
I just had a gut feeling that the room he wanted built wasn't appropriate for anything. It wasn't something where somebody would want to be in that room alone with him. And even my nephew, when we got out to the truck, we both looked at each other and was like, that was weird, right? And he was like, yeah, that was hella weird. We're not doing this job, right? And I was like, hell no.
Step by step, door by door,
Hey, we need to go.
Dominion Energy has been sending in employees to figure out how a single apartment complex suffered 14 gas leaks, forcing hundreds of people away from their downtown apartment complex Friday night.
Once they started running their tests, they were like, yeah, it's pretty bad.
This is not something at all you want to mess around with.
Crews say the gas levels were 9 to 10 times higher than the explosive limit, which is why people were not allowed back in for about 5 hours.
You know, I'm really tired. I had lots of coffee this morning. I'm ready to go home and jump in bed, though.
This woman says her night was not fun, but it was even worse for her mother.
My mom just started getting really sick because she needs oxygen all night, and she didn't have that. My siblings and I just try to do everything that we can to help her out because she's given us everything.
With my breathing and not having full capacity of lungs, you just don't feel well. It's terrifying because if I'm breathing that in...
Well, we were told once we got there that somebody had smelled the gas odor at 9 a.m. that day on Friday, and they didn't call us. There were 14 leaks somewhere in the building.
Dominion Energy said the leaks are the apartment complex's responsibility because it's on their side of the gas meter, and they should have called sooner.
I want to know who was contacted at 9 a.m. and did not call the gas company immediately. That person should be fired because they put over 1,000 people in jeopardy.
A spokesperson for the complex's management company, Graystar, said maintenance crews investigated the complaint that morning, but didn't find anything wrong. That's why they didn't call until getting more complaints that night.
Always make that call. Never hesitate. Your safety is more important than anything.
The cause of the leaks is still under investigation, but the gas company says they're not from something as simple as someone leaving their stove on. The complex says crews are doing their best to get to the bottom of it and will make repairs as soon as possible.
I want answers, and I want to be safe where I live.
It does strike me as strange that there would be leaks in a fairly new property. We just hope we don't get called out there again.
If you go to the address listed for TerraPure Botanicals in Draper, all you find is a house and a front door overgrown with vines, with nobody home.
I live in Gastonia, North Carolina.
Kathy Nicholson, who's never been to Draper, says she tried to buy CBD oil from the company online because she didn't want to take hydrocodone anymore to treat her neck and shoulder pain.
It was just a big runaround is what it was.
First, she ordered a sample. Then she was automatically billed for a full shipment, $106.72 later, she says she got nothing.
No, I didn't even get the sample.
A quick Google search shows when you look up the company, the very first result is more complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau. Dozens of people with the same story as Kathy, upset with TerraPure Botanicals and another company with a similar name, also based in Utah.
I told them I hope they couldn't sleep at night for what they're doing, but they didn't seem to care. I hope you find out. If you're able to even talk to anybody, they might not talk to you either.
Do you actually sell CBD oil, or is that just to get people's credit card information?
Have you ever spoken to an actual customer of ours? Because they would verify that they have received the products from us.
Again, Kathy says she never received anything.
I don't know if I'll ever get anything from these people, but I don't want to see them doing it to any other people.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out, even though it is a little bit rainy. I think that you're all badasses for braving the rain with us. The organization is Slut Walk. It started because there was a string of rapes in Toronto, and an officer came out and said that women would not be sexually assaulted if they didn't dress like sluts.
Are you ready? Consent. Consent. 100%.
They're called survivors, not victims.
100%.
No excuses for the men or women who made them feel this way, who made them feel like they have to march to the Capitol just to get someone with the power to help to listen.
I was sexually assaulted 441 days ago, and now we are waiting for my rape kit results to come back. Why is this taking so long?
Mariah Arts' story from July 16th, 2018 is worth more than a soundbite on the street.
I think I got raped last night. She said, "What did you say?" And I was like, I got raped last night. If my mom wasn't the support system she was for me this whole time, I would not be sitting here talking to you.
Mariah says she had just come back from a party with her best friend and what she thought was a new friend in South Salt Lake. When she went to sleep in his guest room, she was safe.
The next thing I knew, I just woke up to intense pain and I was on my stomach. Turned around and he was right there, just in between me.
It's just a very helpless feeling.
She says she went through the painful process of reporting it, but the process of waiting for her rape kit hurts more.
You want me to hold your sign? Yeah, sure.
Today's walk is a different type of step, asking for answers, which shouldn't be painful at all.
The allocation of funding, it's clearly not going where it needs to for justice to be served for sexual assault victims.
I don't believe anybody is really doing anything about any of it. And it still says July 16, 2018 processing.
Police say for at least a year, unspeakable things happened inside this school for deaf children in Salt Lake City. Most of it in the girls' bathroom.
As a family, it was a lot to take in. It really pissed me off.
This man, Tyler Jex, was a teacher's aide from 2012 to 2013. Over the past 6 years, 2 girls have come forward saying he raped them. Another says she was sexually assaulted in class, and another says he simply asked her for sex on Facebook in exchange for a PS4.
If you actually seen a picture of this kid, he doesn't look like he can hurt a fly.
This man is the father of a 5th girl.
My wife was closely monitoring her activity, and she came across these messages, and he was pretty much jogging her memory. Hey, do you remember the time we were on the bus and I reached underneath your shirt and groped your breast? It also mentioned if they wanted to do it again.
His daughter has a hearing disability and a serious learning disability. The parents say that's why when they took the messages to police, her statement was not clear enough to move forward with the case.
Years later, and we're finding out that this happened, and it's terrible. You'll have all the mental capacity of a grade school, always.
I'm looking for Tyler. I don't know if you'd be interested in talking to us about your case.
Tyler is also deaf, and I do not speak American Sign Language. Still, he made it very clear he wanted me to leave.
He has a monster side that no one's seen.
He says in his mind the Facebook messages are a confession, but if that's not enough, he hopes police can give his daughter another interview.
Someone that fully understands her disability, that can simplify an interview for her. We are waiting. Not much else that I think I can do.
As this case develops, we expect there will be more points to add to this timeline, but this is what we know so far. Let's start July 11th, 2019. At this point, the kids were doing well, but they witnessed the death of their father, Charles Vallow, in Chandler, Arizona. He was shot and killed by Lori Vallow's brother, a man named Alex Cox. Alex said the shooting was in self-defense, but the case is still under investigation.
This incident started with an argument, a family argument.
Fast forward now to September 23rd. This is the last time anyone reported seeing the children, JJ and Tylee, at school in Rexburg, Idaho, but nobody reported them missing until about 2 months later. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first let's talk about Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy. Her dad tells me she was alive and well on October 4th. She drove down from Rexburg to visit her parents in Springville, Utah, but 2 weeks later, on October 19th, the parents got a call from Chad saying Tammy went to bed coughing and never woke up. At the time, doctors said she died from natural causes at the age of 49. Within 2 weeks of Tammy's death, Chad married Lori Vallow, who, as you remember, has been a widow now for about 3 months. On November 26th, family members started to get concerned. They hadn't heard from the kids, JJ or Tylee. They asked for a welfare check, and police said the newlyweds lied about the children's location.
We've gotten pretty much the runaround.
I don't know what happened to those kids. I know that there's people who do and they're not talking.
You've used the word cult. What do you mean by that?
Their focus is just so much on the end of the world and, you know, this idea that it's coming.
The next day, Rexburg police served a search warrant. They found out Chad and Lori left their home abruptly, so they called in the FBI.
If I could say anything to them, I would just say, tell the truth, you know?
At this point, police determined the death of Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, may be suspicious. So on December 11th, they went to her gravesite in Springville and exhumed her body for further testing. The day after that, Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, died in Gilbert, Arizona. Remember, this is the same man who shot and killed her husband back in July, and police are not releasing any details about his death. Again, the whereabouts of the two children are still unknown.
I don't care where they're at. We'll go get them. But just let us know where they're at.
Reporting in studio, Adam Herbets, Fox 13 News, Utah.